Hello. Today we're looking at customer journey mapping, and this one is a bit different from everything else on this channel. Instead of measuring a single metric or running a survey on one question, we're going to map the entire experience a customer has with your brand, from the very first moment they hear about you to the point where they're a loyal regular. By the end, you'll know how to build one of these maps, how to gather the data behind it, and how to use it to fix the parts of the experience that matter most. Let's start with the problem. Here's something most businesses never fully reckon with. You know your product inside out, but do you actually know what it feels like to be your customer? Most businesses design from the inside out. They know their systems, their pricing, their policies, but customer experience from the outside in. They're navigating your world with no training, no context, and no patience for things that are confusing. That gap between your internal view and their lived experience is where frustration, churn, and missed opportunities quietly pile up. The fix is simple to describe, even if it takes real work. Walk a mile in your customer's shoes on paper. Map out every step of their experience with your brand, and something interesting happens. Problems that were invisible from the inside become completely obvious when you see the journey laid out. Friction points, emotional lows, moments of confusion, they all show up clearly on the map, and once you can see them, you can fix them. So what is a customer journey map exactly? It's a visual tool that captures every step a customer takes with your brand, what they're doing, how they're feeling, and where things break down at each stage of their experience. The output is a single document that makes the customer's perspective tangible, often for the very first time for an entire team. It answers the questions, what it is actually like to be our customer, more clearly than almost any other method. A great journey map has 5 layers stacked together. The stages, the big chapters of the experience, from first awareness to loyal customer. The actions, what the customer is actually doing at each stage. The touch points, every place they interact with your brand, whether that's your website, your staff, your packaging, or your app. The emotions, how they feel at each stage, which is the most powerful layer and the one most people skip. And finally, pain points and opportunities, where things are going wrong and where you could do better. Let's build a real map together. Our example is FitLife, a gym, and we're going to follow a specific customer named Sarah. Sarah is thinking about joining a gym for the first time. She's in her early 30s. She's a little intimidated by the whole thing, and she wants to build a habit that actually sticks. We'll trace her journey through 6 stages, from first becoming aware of FitLife, through research, her first visit, sign up, the first weeks, and finally becoming a loyal member. Let's start building. Before you draw a single box, make one important decision. Who are you mapping? You pick one specific type of customer, called a persona, and follow their journey. Sarah is ours, a first-time gym joiner, slightly intimidated, looking to build a habit. The reason you pick one is that different types of customers have dramatically different journeys. A personal training devotee and a casual first-timer experience the same gym in completely different ways. Map one at a time, and the picture stays clear and actionable. Step 2 is laying out the big chapters of the experience, the stages that become the columns of your map. For FitLife and Sarah, those are awareness, research, first visit, sign up, first weeks, and loyal member. Start at the earliest moment the customer encounters your brand, and ends either at loyal repeat customer or, if you want to understand churn, at the point where they leave. Getting the stages right is important because everything else in the map hangs on them. Now the research side, and it starts qualitative. Before you map anything, you talk to real customers. 5 to 10 in-depth interviews is enough to find the patterns. You don't need hundreds. At each stage of the journey, ask open-ended questions and let people tell their stories. Walk me through how you first found out about us. What was going through your head when you walked in for the first time? Was there a moment where you almost gave up? Those stories, more than any number, are the raw material your map is built from. Here are specific questions to work through at each stage. What were you trying to accomplish here? That gets at the goal. What did you do first? That maps the action. How did you feel? That captures the emotion. What was frustrating? That finds the pain point. What almost made you stop? That reveals the churn risk. And what would have made this easier? That points directly to the opportunity. Work through those 6 at every stage, and by the end of your interviews, the map is essentially already written in the customer's own words. Once your interviews have revealed the key themes, the stages where people consistently feel frustrated, confused, or uncertain, the next step is confirming how widespread those themes are. That's where a survey comes in. Rate each stage with a targeted question. How easy was it to find information about FitLife? How confident did you feel walking in for the first time? How clear was the sign-up process? This gives you numbers alongside the stories. Interviews find the themes. The survey tells you how many people actually share them and which pain points are universal versus just one person's bad day. A few practical notes on the research. For interviews, 5 to 10 people persona is genuinely enough. Patterns emerge quickly. For the validation survey, aim for 100 or more per persona so the ratings are reliable. And critically, make sure that you're talking to real customers who've actually been through the journey, not prospects who haven't signed up yet, and definitely not your own team who know too much to give you an honest outside view. Screen for people who've completed the key stages you're mapping. Now you start filling in the map. For each stage, write down what the customer is actually doing and every place they come into contact with your brand. Let's look at Sarah in the research stage. She's Googling gyms near me. She's reading Google reviews. She's clicking onto the FitLife website. She's checking FitLife's Instagram. Each of those is a touchpoint, a moment where FitLife has a chance to either help her move forward or lose her to a competitor. When you list them all out, it becomes immediately clear how many chances you have to make a difference. Now the layer that most people skip, and the most powerful one. At each stage, mark how Sarah feels on a simple curve from low to high. At awareness, she's curious and hopeful. At research, she starts feeling a bit overwhelmed. Too many options, hard to compare. At the first visit, it drops further. She's nervous and intimidated walking into a gym full of people who look like they know what they're doing. At sign-up, she's confused by the pricing tiers. In her first weeks, she's proud but inconsistent. And by loyal member, she's confident and committed. See those dips? Those are your priorities. Now we put all 5 layers together into one view. Stages across the top, and below them, actions, touch points, the emotion curve, and pain points. And look at where the curve dips lowest, the first visit and the sign-up. At the first visit, Sarah feels intimidated. There's no one to greet her. She doesn't know where to go, and the environment feels unwelcoming. At sign-up, the pricing page is confused with too many tiers. Those 2 dips, circled right there on the map, are where FitLife is most at risk of losing Sarah. Everything else can wait. So what do you do with this? Fix the dips first. For the first visit, Fit Life adds a welcome greeter at the door and a free orientation session for new members. Two changes that directly address the intimidation Sarah felt. For sign-up, they simplify the pricing page down to one or two clear options, removing the confusion. And then, crucially, they protect the highs. What's making loyal members feel confident and committed? Whatever that is, you do more of it. The map gives you a to-do list sorted by where the emotional impact is greatest. Let's stay balanced. The strengths of a customer journey mapping: it makes the customer experience visible and tangible in a way that's hard to argue with. It builds genuine empathy across a whole team, not just the research team. And it reveals the gap between what you think the experience is and what customers actually live through. The limitations: it's built from research with a relatively small number of customers, so it might miss edge cases. It can go stale as your product or market changes, so it needs to be revisited. And it's only as good as the research behind it. A map built from 5 rushed interviews won't reflect reality. Do the research properly, and this becomes one of the most powerful documents a team can have. 5 things to take with you. Always map from the customer's perspective, not your own. That's the whole point. Pick one persona per map so the picture stays focused and clear. Use interviews first to find the themes, then a survey to validate them at scale. Include the emotional layer. That's where the real opportunities hide. And fix the dips before you polish the highs, because the moments where customers feel frustrated or confused are costing you far more than the highs are earning you. Get that right, and journey mapping becomes one of the most actionable tools in your whole research kit. Thank you for watching.